Hello, welcome Sudoku fans to an evil level websudoku.com puzzle. You can see the identifier down here if you want to access it and give it a go. I've not looked at this puzzle before and I'm interested to see how it's going and whether I will need to resort to pencil marks or not to solve it. I don't know why, but I usually see these patterns, a 7-2 here and a 7-2 here and a 2-7 here. That basically forces a 2 and a 7 in these two empty cells, right? So these two being a 2 and a 7, for the three remaining empty cells, we will need a 4, 5, and a 9. The 5 here prevents a 5 from going here, so this cell will have to be a 4 or a 9. And then because of the 5 up here, one of these cells will have to be a 5. So since we now have a ghost 5 here and we have a 5 in the top row, we need to find a 5 for row 3. And as said before, this 5 will force the 5 to go here. And I now know that a 5 and a 7 will have to go in one of these or in two of these three cells because of the 5 here and the 5 here and the 5 down here. To get a 5 in column 9, it will have to go in one of these three cells. And of course, the 7 here and the 7 here also forces the 7 in one of these three cells. The 4 here and here will force a 4 into this cell because, as we just established, this cell will have to be a 2 or a 7, right? So the 4 will have to go here. And of course, the 4 here and here will put a 4 in this empty cell. And this 4 and this 4 and the 4 here forces a 4 in this corner cell. And now we know, because of the 4 down here, that this cell is a 4. And that leaves a 5 and a 9 for these two cells. So if these two cells are a 5 and a 9 pair, and we have got a 6 here and here, we know that this cell would have to be a 6. And the 6 here and here gives us a 6 for row 3, like so. And these two cells, because these, as I said, have to be a 5 and a 9, these two have to be a 1 and an 8. There's a 1 here that can see the cells, so the 8 goes here and the 1 here. Now one of these two cells will have to be an 8. One of these two cells will have to be a 1. And these two cells will have to be a combination of a 3 and a 9. We have a 4 here, and we have a 4 here and here, and that forces a 4 into this cell. And that completes the 4s for the grid. Well, that's nice. Remember, I was discussing the 5 that will have to go in one of these three cells. I think I know which one now. We got a 5 here and we've got a 5 here. That means that a 5 can't go in these two cells. We got a 5 here and that means a 5 can't go in this cell either. And since we know that the 5 will have to go in column 9, then this is the only cell that we can use. We still need to find a 2, 7, and an 8 to complete column 9. The 7 here makes this cell down here a 2 or an 8. And the 7 will need to go in one of these two cells. And as I just finished my thought about the 7s that will have to go here, I'm looking at this 7 here, and I'm looking at this 7 here, and they force a 7 in one of these two cells. So clearly a 7 can't go in this cell, therefore it must go here. This is now a 2 or an 8, and this is a 2 or an 8. It strikes me that the 5 here puts a 5 in one of these two cells, doesn't it? And therefore we need to find a 5 for one of these two cells to have a 5 at all in row 8. And there's a 5 up here. So that places a 5 in this cell and therefore in this cell. And the 5 here and this 5 and this 5 gives us a 5 for column 1, and it has to go here. And since we filled this cell with a 5, it cannot take a 6 now, can it? Nor can this cell because of this 6, or this cell because of this 6, or this cell because of this 6. So this is the only place left for a 6. And now we have this 6 and this 6 and this 6 that puts a 6 in this cell. We need to find a 1, 3, 7, and a 9 to complete column 2. There's a 7 here, and there's a 7 here, and there's a 7 here, and that puts a 7 in this cell, doesn't it? And now the 7 here, here, and here gives us a 7 for the bottom row 9, like so. And that resolves the 2-7 pair we had going on up here for the longest time. This is now the 2, and this is the 7. We need to find a 1, 2, and a 3 to complete row 5. There's a 2 here that can see this cell, and now we have this 2 that can see this cell. So the 2 clearly must go here, leaving a 1, 3 for this cell and for this cell. We still need a 1, 3, and a 9 for column 2. There's a 3 and a 9 in this row, and that puts a 1 in this. So now this is a 3, 9, and this is a 3, 9, and this is also a 3, 9. Let's see if that leads to anywhere special. We need a 1, 2, we need a 3, 8, and a 9 to complete these 3 empty cells, a 3, 8, and a 9. We still have the 3 and a 9 here, so clearly this must be an 8 now. And this is now not a 9 because of this 9, so it's got to be a 3. And this one must be a 9. And the 9 here and here gives us this 9. And now we have an 8 and a 9 up here, and we have a 1 and a 3 up here. And we have a 1 and a 3 here. Let's see if we can get any closer to this. And I believe we can. There's a 9 here, and there's a 9 here, and there's a 9 here, and that forces a 9 in this cell. And therefore, finally, in this cell, leaving this cell for an 8. These two cells now have to be a 2 and an 8. And since there's a 2 up here, we know that the 8 goes here and the 2 here. This now must be an 8 because that's the last digit missing from the column. Now the 8 here and here puts an 8 in this cell, doesn't it? And therefore, in combination with this 8, it puts an 8 here. And that completes the 8s for the grid. The last remaining digit here is a 6. Now this one cannot be a 1 because of the 1 up here. Therefore, the 1 will go here. And this becomes a 2. Now we need a 5 and a 3 for these two cells. We can't solve that at the moment, but we can solve this one. And that has got to be a 3. So a 3 up here and a 3 here. And this is a 3 now because of this 3. And the last digit is a 1. And I think we are not going to use pencil marks for this puzzle after all. There's a 1 here and there's a 1 here, and that of course puts a 1 in this cell and in this cell and this cell, and the 3 therefore must go here. This last cell is 3, and we got a 1, we got a 2, 7 pair to complete these two cells. There's 7 here, so the 2 goes here and the 7 here. The 2 and the 2 and the 2 here gives us this 2. And the last digit here now must be a 3, making this a 3 and this a 5. And now we know how to resolve the 5 and a 9 because of the 5 here now. The 5 must go there and the 9 here. And this is then a 9, and that completes the puzzle. I hope you enjoyed this puzzle. I really anticipated having to use pencil marks because it is an evil puzzle. But as you can see, with a little bit of brain work, we can solve it quite easily. Thank you for watching, and to see you again next time. Bye for now.